Okay guys, so we just got the final trailer for It Chapter 2 out of Comic-Con, and before I head to work, I'm gonna give you some quick theories I have on the movie and overall my general thoughts on the trailer. Unlike the first teaser, which we got a few months ago, which was basically a full scene featuring adult Beverly and then a supercut of the new Adult Losers Club, this one is definitely more of a full trailer. Right out of the gate, I know you guys are gonna be surprised by this, but I love that the first thing we see is an overhead shot of Derry, Maine in the fall. Fall atmosphere is something that's really prominent in Stephen King's books, and if there's one thing that these modern adaptations have been slacking on, it's including that in the movies. So I'm glad that we're finally gonna see that because it's gonna bring a great vibe to the final product. And overall, I gotta say I'm not disappointed with anything I saw in this trailer. It's very clear that this movie is gonna primarily, if not mostly, focus on the Adult Losers Club with some shots and flashbacks of the kids thrown in for flavor. I'm fine with that, honestly. As much as I love the kids, we already have an entire movie featuring them, and it makes sense that they are focusing on the adults for this because they made a conscious decision to make sure the first movie only featured the kids story and the second movie is going to feature the adults. They're telling it in a different way than the book, so I'm glad they're committing to that. We get even more context around the Adrian Mellon scene, and I still think that's going to be the first scene in the movie that kind of gets Mike to call everyone back to Derry, because he reveals that just like in the book, he stayed behind while everyone else left him. The reason I think that's going to be the first scene in the movie is because it's so genuinely shocking. Seeing someone get bullied and thrown off a bridge just for being gay is terrible, and it's really going to build sympathy for that character from the audience. And then seeing him die at the hands of Pennywise, that's going to make people really scared. Just like the first scene in the original It Chapter 1, when Georgie dies, made people scared. You don't normally see kids die on screen, and you don't normally see something as shocking as this on screen in horror movies. And of course, Mike reveals that he stayed behind while everyone left him in Derry, so this murder is definitely going to be the one that gets him to call everyone back to kill Pennywise. I'm not a casting director, I don't know what goes into that, but from the very beginning, I thought they were choosing great people for the Losers Club as adults, and now that we've seen them in action even more in this trailer, I still feel that way. I think they couldn't have done any better with any of these characters. They all look great. Towards the end of the trailer, we get to see them really flex their acting skills. They're in some terrifying situations, and the coolest thing about it is they all look genuinely scared. You know, seeing Bill Hader in a horror movie is not something I thought would ever happen, but now that I've seen it, it feels perfect, and I hope he sticks with the genre going forward. I also love the updates to Pennywise's lair post the end of the last movie. I might have said this in my last video, but it's definitely giving me the same vibes as the ship where they find the space jockey in the original Alien, and that's just a perfect callback for a character like Pennywise who's so terrifying, iconic, and otherworldly. I love it. I also like that they're focusing on the humor of Pennywise. I know some people don't like humor in horror movies, but this is the perfect movie for it because at the end of the day, the form that Pennywise is taking is a clown, and if something is trying to eat you and kill you, there's nothing more off-putting than it telling you a joke or trying to be funny as it comes closer so it can devour your head. You know, that's scary to me. And even though we know Pennywise is scared of the Losers Club, that's making him more desperate and more brutal, but it also causes him to be smart about the way he's killing kids. He obviously uses that funhouse to hunt down the kid because he knows he has the upper hand in there, and he can use jokes to make himself seem more confident than he actually is. I guarantee you we're going to see that kid die on screen, which is tragic, but it's also going to be scary, and that's what I want in the movie. I keep mentioning my last video because there's so much crossover between these two trailers, which is fine with me. I don't want a Halloween 2018 situation where we know the entire movie before it comes out, even though we kind of know the entire movie before it comes out because it's an adaptation of a book. But anyways, one new scene we see is that Henry Bowers is an adult in this movie and he's in a mental hospital. He's being dragged through it. He sees Pennywise's balloon outside, and that's kind of confusing to me. I had heard he'd been casted, but I didn't know I believed it at that point because how the hell did he survive what happened to him in the first movie? He's pushed down a pretty deep well. How could you survive that fall unless Pennywise helped him survive, I guess? I don't know. In the novel, Pennywise basically frames him for all the murders that happen when the Losers Club are kids, and then when he grows up, Pennywise helps him break out of the mental hospital so he can hunt them down one by one, and that's probably what we're gonna see in the movie. Overall, I love the trailer. It did a great job getting me hyped for this movie because, of course, again, we know what's going to happen, so it basically comes down to them putting it on screen in a cool way, and that looks like exactly what Andy Muschietti is doing. But the cool thing is the people who got to see this trailer last night at the Scare Diego panel also got to see full scenes of the ones featured in the trailer, and they tweeted about them, so I'm gonna break those down now. Click away if you don't want spoilers. For reference, the first scene was Bill going through the funhouse trying to save the kid from Pennywise. The second was the scene we saw in the last trailer where Beverly is in a room full of blood, which is awesome. And the third one is all of the adult losers going back to the Neibolt house. Basically what Jessica Chastain and Andy Muschietti said about this scene is that by filling the room with blood, they were trying to make people feel the same way they did when they saw Carrie for the first time, but in 2019. I love that. I cannot wait to see actual practical blood filling this room, and I think that's a great evolution of the scene where the bathroom fills with blood in It Chapter 1. There wasn't too much to say about the scene where they go back to the Neibolt house other than it's good and it's shot well, so I'm fine with that. The one scene everyone seemed to love though was the funhouse scene, because James McAvoy originally wasn't in that scene. It was just going to be Pennywise hunting down the kid, but James McAvoy loved playing Bill so much that he was like, I feel like a scene is missing featuring this character, so him and Andy Muschietti decided to insert Bill into that moment, and judging by the reactions from everyone who saw it, it was a smart decision. People absolutely lost their shit over it. James McAvoy not only talked about how scary the movie's gonna be, but he also talked about a scene that was shot where he actually hurt himself pretty bad. He tore some muscles in his legs, I guess, and we're gonna get to see a few shots from that in the final product, which will make it scarier. So I'm all for that. I just hope that he healed and feels better now. That's crazy. Anyway, guys, I gotta get to work. That's all the time I have for you on the It Chapter 2 trailer. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you think this is gonna be worse or the same or better than the last It movie? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And remember, when you subscribe, to hit the notification bell, and do me a huge favor, when you get that notification, click it and watch the entire video through for me. It really helps YouTube kind of just feed it out to the rest of my subscribers. Anyway, guys, my name is Jimmy Champane, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.